feel like we both need to be there. Okay. How's that?
That's okay. Just don't.
Just get angry. Get mad about something. Go on.
Wah.
Meh. Okay.
Meh.
Meh. Okay, I think we're good. I think we're even. All right. Hello.
Hey, we're back with another episode of Two Straws.
Two Straws.
Thank you for joining us.
It's good to be here. Another year.
I know. Another year older, wiser. How was your hangover?
I'm drinking now, so it wasn't that bad. I've had worse this year already. So I guess that's saying something. But yeah, I had fun from what I remember.
I had a great time.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Amazing.
I enticed people to come to our live that we do on OnlyFans before we shoot with what I think is the last song of the night. I'm hoping because I don't remember singing it, but I was really excited to sing "Contagious" by the Isley Brothers. Do you remember that song when it came out?
Yeah.
Yeah, we went to karaoke, and it was like this black-owned karaoke, so I'm like, oh, they'll appreciate this. Like, they know this song. So this stupid song, Contagious, is like the Isley Brothers. It was like the prequel to the whole Trapped in the Closet series that R. Kelly did after. Well, we aren't supposed to say his name, but that guy did after. And it's so fun to sing with like people who know the song. So I was really excited about doing it on karaoke, and I put it in. I remember putting it in, but I did not know that I got the chance to sing it until I was looking through the videos the next day. And I'm like, oh, we sang the song.
I mean, I knew the chorus.
Okay.
I did not know all of the words.
Did we?
Which was very obvious by the footage.
So I only have a small clip, but did we do the whole like?
Oh, we did the whole thing.
Oh my God.
It was excruciating.
No. So
but they loved us.
They loved us, but I tried to use it to get people into the live, and I think it might have backfired. Like she might still be drunk and singing.
Oh my goodness. It was a great time.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun. Karaoke is so fun for some reason. I think because I have a profession that doesn't require singing. It's like a total other side of the entertainment world that I'd never be capable of doing.
I have absolutely no business singing, but I love it.
It's so fun.
It's so fun.
You say that, but you killed Don't Stop Believing.
That's my song.
That was a good one thing as a fighter. If you're ever with a fighter at karaoke, put their walkout song in the list. They will love you. Yes. They will sing the words.
In the fields.
Yes.
It's a good song.
It's so good. So yeah, I had a great birthday. I got a cool birthday present too today from Miss Jessica.
Well, you have to be careful. He's fragile. He's old.
Oh, very old. I got a new friend. A new friend for the wall.
Yay.
I'm not sure what her name is yet. Maybe you guys can help me name her. But she looks great with the voodoo doll, and Jessica knows me really well, so I'm really excited about this little shrunken head. Yay. This is awesome. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
So a lot of stuff has been happening with the fights getting started up again, and we finally had a fight night after a good month of no fights. So yeah, did you get to watch them last night? I had to kind of catch up on them today, but they're pretty good.
I didn't watch all of them really, really closely, except for like I watched the main,
right?
The co-main, of course. And then I watched a couple people on the undercard because I had a friend, Preston Parsons, who I was on the 2-week military tour with.
That fight was crazy. That was one of the fights that we were watching live because we were running around running errands, and we're like, oh, the fights are on. So we were able to pull that out while we were eating, and that fight was so insane.
It scared me in the first round a little bit.
Yeah, it was really evenly matched.
Yeah, it was good. And that guy, Parsons' opponent took it on short notice. He was
Smellsburger.
It's such a funny one. I was so distracted by his mullet in the pre-fights, and then he
Yeah.
walked out with it. And I was like, "How could you do that?" I was like, that looked like a lot of time and effort to put into it, and you just chop that thing off.
I know.
Just gone.
And he lost, so obviously it was a Samson effect on him.
I know.
Never cut the mullet. Never cut the mullet. You could probably do a Venn diagram of fighters that have a mullet when they come to the UFC and their success rate when they cut it.
Look what happened to Clay Guida.
There you go. No hair anymore. I mean, it was.
I mean, it needed it needed it. It needed to happen. I was really happy that it happened, but yes, it happens.
Dodson had the opposite effect.
True.
He is fighting really well now in BKFC, and he cut that thing off. So I was really happy about that.
Thank goodness.
Oh man.
Yeah. It was a really good fight. Parsons did really well. I couldn't help but see his like age and experience in that fight. There's, certain things. It was just a really exciting back and forth fight. Everyone was jockeying for position. And I can't wait to see him grow and develop as a fighter and just kind of like, tighten certain things up. It was very exciting, very fun to watch.
It was. He was just in the moment the whole time. And that guy was a gamer. Like you said, the first round was a little scary if you're going for Parsons. I thought it was like a cool back and forth battle. And then towards maybe the beginning, maybe the middle of the second round, you could see that he had no momentum anymore.
Yeah.
Smellsburger was feeling either the lack of camp or just the fact that the guy was pulling ahead, making better adjustments. And it was a fun one to watch as a fighter who's still learning, because it's cool to see like what's going on, what options they take while they're in there. And he did a great job of mixing up the striking and the takedowns and the submission attempts. And it looked like Smellsburger was just grabbing for those desperation subs at the end. Like he just got outworked a lot towards the end of that fight. But it was a really great fight. Like I was on the edge of my seat. I didn't know either of them. That was cool.
It's nice to be emotionally invested in a fight and then have them win. So it was very exciting.
Sucks the other way around.
It does. Kind of ruins your day a little bit.
It does. You'll be bummed all day. You'll be having a good time, and then you'll think about it like, oh, my friend.
I know.
But they'll all live to fight another day. One fight that I was really excited about watching on the prelims too was the Marcus McGee fight. He was fighting Gaston. I didn't know his name was Bolaños because he doesn't have the thing over the end. But it's Bolaños. I've been calling him Bolanos forever, and I probably sound like a dumb American. But he was fighting Gaston Bolaños, and he has had some epic knockouts in Bellator. So I was really excited to see that fight because I knew Marcus McGee was also a really strong striker, really scary guy, undefeated in the UFC right now. And that fight was crazy. He was able to smack Bolaños around with like hooks over and over again. It was a really crazy just display of power. And it was a cool fight. I was excited about that one because I feel like, I'm not super sure, but I feel like I met him when he was cornering one of his homies, and he hadn't gotten into the UFC yet. And he was like, I'm gonna be there one day, and I'm like, okay, I'll see you. And then he made it. So I'm like, aw, if that's him. I might be just being racist and it was another light-skinned black guy. But I'm pretty sure it was him. So good job if it's you.
Better you than me.
Yes. I can make that mistake. And no one will judge me that hard. Actually, they'll judge me because I have a white husband. But all my brothers are black. It's like,
oh my
gosh. So there were a lot of cool fights on the prelims, but let's get to the nitty gritty with the main event.
Yes. So Johnny Walker, it was not his night, but Ankalev is next for a title shot.
He's a monster.
He really is, and it's so weird because when he fought, who did he fight For the belt previously, he fought
Jan Blachowicz.
Yes. Oh, good
Blachowicz?
pronunciation.
I'm not sure.
Blachowicz.
Yeah, there we Blachowicz.
Yeah. When they fought and it was a draw, I didn't write him off, but I stopped paying attention to what he was doing. Because I was like, okay, that was not a great performance. But they were, next in line for the title. So I just kind of tune out. And then, we have Jamal Hill, who's a very exciting fighter, was a great champion. So I don't know what Jamal's recovery time looks like.
Right.
But that's got to be next.
Pereira has the belt now.
Yes.
So you have to wonder what's going to happen first.
Yeah.
Is Jamal going to get a shot at getting his belt back from Pereira? Is Pereira going to fight
Ankalev?
Yes, the guy we were just talking about. Or are they going to fight each other? Is Hill going to fight Ankalev for a chance to fight Pereira? We don't know what's going to happen, and a lot of it is about recovery time. How fast is he going to heal up?
Yeah, I don't know that he's made it back to training yet. So I feel like if I am just, throwing stuff out there at the wall and see what sticks, I feel like Ankalev and I always say his name wrong.
Pereira?
I want to say Pereira so badly.
Or Perrier.
Yes. Pereira, I mean, that's got to be next, right?
Or what about Jerry? What's Jerry doing?
He got knocked down to the back of the line.
He got knocked down, but by the person with the belt. So does he get to get a shot at one of them? Maybe, I don't know. Like they were pushing Jamal Hill versus Jerry when Jamal had the belt.
That one makes more sense than Jerry coming straight back and fighting for the belt. I feel like he, the way the fight went and everything like that, and I feel like he maybe needs one under his belt.
Well, yes. No, I didn't mean a rematch, but does he have any say in which challenger he's gonna fight? You know what I mean? Like, not any say, but does he even get to fight a challenger, or does he have to fight way down the list now that he's lost it? Because he is former champion.
I think that there's a little bit more pull because he is a former champion. He was coming off of a long layoff. Right. I think that he can get right back up into the mix, but I think it might take one or two before he gets another title shot.
So you think Ankalev is definitely next?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
And I don't think anyone's arguing that. I think the only thing that you can really argue is that it wasn't until he fought Blachowicz that he really got that test. And then it was a draw. And now that he's fought Walker, it's better. It was a better look because he knocked him out, but Walker was still pretty far down the list.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing you could do to argue. But with Pereira having no real people looking to get at that title right now, with Jamal Hill being injured, with Blachowicz kind of losing that draw, or not losing the draw, but not being around. He also injured himself, injured his shoulder. It's just kind of lucky timing too that Ankalev got that big KO, didn't take much damage, and is probably more rightfully able to call for a title shot than Pereira even was.
Yeah, I think so. I think just in the matter that he won, because it was just such a devastating knockout.
Yeah.
It wasn't technically a KO, but he
did a lot of damage. Yeah, he was done. Well, the grab face, I feel like, is even worse than loss of consciousness, because the loss of consciousness can be a flick.
Yeah.
It can just be a little turn of the head and you're out. But the fact that he smashed his fist into poor Johnny Walker's face and he grabbed it because of the pain.
Do you know what that tells me? That tells me he has never had a broken nose before, because the first time that I broke my nose, that is how I reacted.
Oh.
It was so painful. It feels like your whole face explodes.
It is
awful. And I mean, people can get little deviated septums here and there from sparring, but like to have your nose just shatter like that's broke.
How did you break your nose the first time?
I broke it in sparring.
Okay.
And then every time out, it it was the worst pain in the world.
Oof.
And then every time after that, it just kept getting like little breaks,
Yeah.
little more crooked, little more deviated septum in there. So
And
it
the
was
little
just,
breaks aren't as bad.
they're still painful, but nothing was as painful as the first break.
The first time.
Oh my
Who
God.
popped your cherry, eh?
Oh
Your
my
little
God,
nose cherry.
this little jerk of a Muay Thai girl that I sparred with. She came into town when I was still up in Orange County.
Oh no.
Little gloves.
Just popped it. Popped it right out.
So
Oof.
hard, so hard.
Dang, that sucks.
I didn't have a whole lot of like striking experience. It was just kind of like a really new. And man,
dude, little gloves sparring too. You really got to trust it. Guys, if you're out there sparring in little gloves, be careful who you train with, because those things aren't much different from competition gloves. And it's really easy if you're going with someone wild that something that isn't covered can hit them. Like I've gotten lumps on my head just from people's thumb bone being exposed, and they're going, "Ah!" and hit you right in the head with a knuckle or a bone or a fingernail or something like that. So that stuff is scary. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised your nose got broken considering the circumstances. Poor Johnny Walker. I wouldn't be surprised if that was his first time getting his nose broken too, because he's pretty tall. He moves a lot, so he's not really getting hit flush like that. And the way that Ankalev just reared up, like it was like the Marge Simpson punch, like that gif where she's like, oh. He reared up and just shoveled that uppercut right into his face. It was really horrible to watch, but also very exciting.
Yeah, the only one who's reacted worse than that was Rory McDonald.
Oh yeah.
Who was he fighting? It might have been Robbie Lawler, but I remember.
Did he get the? I always forget if that fight ended in a knockout or not.
Maybe the first one.
Oh, okay.
You have to
Google
that.
I'll Google while you
Rory
talk.
McDonald had a terrible reaction to his nose getting broke, and I felt for him.
And Rory kind of has that face that looks like it shouldn't be hit too hard. You know how someone...
What does that mean?
You know how some people have kind of a face where it's like, if you get hit real hard, it's going to shatter. And then other people have like a face like a pit bull. And they...
Cro-Magnon.
Yeah, they look like they can take a lot of damage. They've been banging their head into walls as a kid, and they're just built to take that damage and absorb.
Calcified. Quite
Yes.
A bit. Good for you.
And Rory, he has a little bird head.
Oh.
Yeah, so that was a really crazy fight. And did you think, because people are debating this, but I felt like Johnny Walker was doing kind of well in the first few minutes of the fight. Like he was dictating the pace, landed. There was a spinning heel kick that he landed that I thought did something. But the more the fight went on, and you could hear the commentators say it too, the more he started to lose gas. And this was all in the first round.
Yeah.
He's throwing a ton of kicks, spinning, being weird, losing gas a little bit. And then that nut shot just, I think, took the last bit of energy out of him.
Yeah, I mean, it very well could have. He's a big guy. He cuts a ton of weight. And for that style, that takes a lot of energy that burns you up really, really quickly. And I mean, it's hard to say exactly. I know that he was, well trained for that fight, putting in work and stuff like that. It's not like he didn't know about it. It's not like it was a short notice fight or anything like that, but it just seemed to take a lot out of him really fast.
Yeah, for sure. So it was the second fight. Ended in KO, and yes, his poor little nose.
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah,
my heart hurt for him. So did my nose.
Thing.
It was bad.
It started throbbing from sympathy pain.
We know what that feels like. Oh God.
What did you think? All right, I'm not trying to put you out there, but as us more mature fighters, What did you think about Jim Miller's performance?
Oh my God, he's such a stud.
He's so good.
I love Jim Miller.
He's such a
so
G.
awesome.
Oh
he's
my
so
gosh.
good.
Yeah.
He really inspires me. Watching him fight, I always get really inspired because I am also of a more mature age.
Yes.
I just, yeah, I really admire what he's doing, and it gives me confidence that, I can still perform at the highest level. When he was in there, it was Benitez. Was it Mowgli? Was it Benitez?
Benitez, yeah.
The first round, again, I was a little bit nervous about the way it was going, but then you just saw Jim Miller in his like veteranness, just kicking in, and Benitez, was throwing everything that he could at him.
Gabriel Benitez.
Yeah, he was in the fight, but it just Jim Miller just pulled ahead.
He did. And those leg kicks, man, like both of them were getting pretty marked up on the legs, but Jim Miller was putting them in, and he was staying to the plan. He was sticking to the plan. He was seeing what was working. And that's that veteranness that you see. A lot of people will land something that's good and they stray away from it for whatever reason. Maybe they felt uncomfortable throwing it, or maybe, I don't know, they just wanted to punch the guy in the face. So they go away from the stuff that was working. And Jim Miller always seems to take the path of least resistance. And it's really cool to watch because he's known as a grappler, known as just a grinder, but the leg kicks he was throwing were nasty, big, swooping, chopping the tree down leg kicks. And that's something that is hard to teach people. So he's definitely honed all of his skills. He didn't just follow the box that he was put in when he first got into the UFC. He's worked on every aspect of his game, and he's able to find the win, even in a fight that looks pretty evenly matched. And that fight in the first round, it looked really evenly matched, and then he just pulled ahead like your boy Parsons, just kind of found those areas where he was having success and just kept needling and beating them up and got his way to that submission finish.
Yeah, going off of what you were saying with it shows that he's such a veteran, and I think it's really impressive that he keeps evolving because in the past I've seen these these fighters like you have like a Chuck Liddell or like a Babalu, and like they were the big names coming that were fighting when I was coming up in the sport, and I would see them stopping evolving. Like they did what they did really well and people had a hard time with it, but like eventually people are going to figure it out. So if you're not evolving constantly and adding new tools to your tool belt, then it's just it's kind of inevitable that you're nearing the end. So I think it's really impressive that he is such a veteran. He has so many fights under his belt. He has such great fight IQ.
The most.
He just hit the mark. He just hit that mark. That's incredible.
So crazy.
And he's still learning and growing.
Speaking of big names, what do you think about his Brock Lesnar call out?
I think that's hilarious. I loved his post fight.
Yeah.
Like he did a really good one. He was calling out Paul Felder. He was calling out Matt Brown. I thought, he's been there, done that. He's seen it all. And I mean, why not have fun with it?
Why not? Why not? I would love to see him fight Brock Lesnar because he said in his pre-fight that he could finish him with a Kimura. How likely do you think that is?
I mean, I'd pay to see it. It's Brock has, power and size on his hand, but jiu-jitsu
is the equalizer.
Right. Yeah.
It's the equalizer.
Get that Kimura.
I could see him scrambling up his back, going for stuff.
I could see him like trying and grabbing like a knee bar from bottom and just not being able to like bend it. It's a big old leg.
I always think of that random Arnold Schwarzenegger movie where he had to fight this guy who was like a drug dealer, but he knew jiu-jitsu for some reason. Arnold Schwarzenegger was a sheriff. This is one of his later movies where he's old, but he was a sheriff. and this guy tried to jujitsu him, and it came out around the time that everyone was wanting Ronda Rousey to fight Cyborg. And I remember we had a bet with my grappling coach at the time where like, this is how it would go down. It would go down just like this movie. Cyborg would almost get armbarred, and then she just curl her arm back and slam her into the ground. So that's what I feel like would happen if Jim Miller tried to knee bar. Just go and sit on him, and crush his little head with his butt or something. But I would like to see him try.
Yeah.
They should set up a grappling competition, like a slap jitsu thing, because Brock Lesnar, I'm sure, can knock someone out with a slap pretty easily.
Very easily.
The stakes would be high still.
I thought him calling out Paul Felder, who was, at the desk on that fight card, I thought that was interesting, and that kind of piqued my interest. But from what he was saying, I like that he's, saying that, it does, I guess, excite him, to think about it, but he's pretty set in his retirement. And I can really appreciate and respect that mentality. Like, he's just really staying strong, sticking to his guns, and fighting's hard.
It is. You can't just pop back in whenever you want. Yeah. You're gonna get hurt. It's hard. It's hard for people who want to train and can't. It's hard for people who just need some time off and then come back thinking they'll roll back into it. That's usually when injuries happen a lot too.
Oh, I'm nervous about trying to get back into it.
Gotta ease.
I've already eased. Like, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm easing back into it. I'm not fully cleared to like do full contact training, but I was like, you know what? It's about that time. It's about that time to start getting ready to get ready.
Man, it's hard. It's hard. I just had a little winter break, and that was hard, getting back into the gym and going hard and wanting to go hard, knowing that your lungs are just going to punch you in the gut for doing so, It's really rough. So I can imagine how you're feeling, the nervousness, but also you haven't done it in a long time, so it's gonna be fun too.
I'm having fun working my way into it. I'm so overlifting. I'm like,
it's boring.
It's a little boring. I mean, it's nice. It's nice because I can actually see the numbers going up, like weight wise. So I'm like, I know I'm strong.
You're looking strong.
I will take that as a compliment.
I can't wait to see your mat return when you get back on the wrestling mats. That mat return, I'm gonna be flying.
I could pop you. Could pop you and twist you and
toss me out the cage.
Yeah, I've never actually focused on like just lifting.
Okay.
And like when I did focus on lifting, it was more in like strength and conditioning, like fight preparation. So just focusing on it, I feel like I've actually made some gains that I've needed.
Nice.
Because I put on, weight, but
in the right spots.
But not the right kind of weight. It's a lot of thickness. It's not a like functional muscle.
Stop it, Jasmine. Not on OnlyFans anymore.
Oh my goodness. But it's just it wasn't the kind of weight that I was trying to put on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you look strong. Your quads look like thick and muscular and ready to
they are.
Kick the shit out of somebody.
Yes.
Big swooping Jim Miller leg kicks and everything.
Yeah, I have like my notes.
Like
my iPhone notes. I have the notes that what I like specifically want to work on.
Okay.
When I get back,
nice.
And like what kind of fighter I want to be. So I'm very excited. Very excited.
That'll be fun. I can't wait for the return. It'll be fun. It'll be good times. So what other fights got you kind of maybe making notes about or excited from last night's card? Anyone?
I'm sorry. Wrong question.
I have one.
Really? Tell me.
There is a maniac in the UFC right now. This guy, what is his name? I don't even remember his name. It's Gian Silva.
I didn't see that one.
Okay. His knockout was very impressive, but the craziest thing about him is that he got a knockout in I think maybe 3 minutes or something like that, 3 minutes into the first round. His walk out took twice as long as the knockout.
Is he the one that put on the glasses afterwards?
Yes.
Okay. I just I tuned back in when he won. So I did not see any of that fight.
Okay. I was trying to find the live footage of the fight night, and I was looking on Twitter, and I just saw all these videos. I don't think they showed it on the replay on ESPN Plus, but I see all these videos of him walking to the octagon, and mind you, this is the apex. It shouldn't take you more than 30 seconds.
That's like 100 feet.
It's not that far. Yeah, it's 100 feet, less than 100 steps. Like, and he took his time. Every step was like, it looked like he was walking in place.
Would he like stop and like wave at people like he was in a parade?
No, he just walked out. He's in the zone and he's slowly walking out, but it looks like he's just marching in place. And every now and then he goes forward a little bit, but he's just really taking his time. And so I was flipping out about this, and I was trying to show Adam. So I went to the replay and they cut it.
Of course, it was a time suck.
It was so much time. It was probably like a 20-minute walkout to go that
like
far.
Nobody needs to see this ever again.
No. So, of course, Michael Bisping is just making jokes the whole time. And so I go back to the replay to show Adam, and they start with him getting greased up, but he does the same thing as he walks up the steps. Like, him walking up the steps into the cage took a good minute.
You know what?
I'm not exaggerating.
Night.
It was his night. It was his night, his debut. He was a plus or a minus 900 favorite. So I don't know why he needed all that motivation.
Plus 900?
Yeah, the guy was plus 600 underdog, and he was a minus 900 favorite.
Oh.
So it was, everyone expected him to do what he did, but this guy is a legit maniac. So he goes in there, he's barking too. He's barking the entire time, like Butcher when you come over. every time. And then he gets his crazy knockout, hits him with like these really heavy check hooks, and ends it with like a jump knee flick kick thing, and then just punches the guy, and the guy's done. And then his post-fight speech, he runs up to the camera. He's barking. And then Bisping goes, anything else? I'm like, that's legit how I talk to Butcher. Like, that's... And then what?
Tell me more.
And then what? And then what are we doing? And then... that was pretty hilarious. But his post... everything about his post-fight speech was ridiculous. He put the glasses on. Michael Bisping asked him through the translator, like, how he set up his hook. And then instead of saying something, he demonstrated it. He said, look. And then he made his coach come over. And then he just throws a hook at his coach. And he's like that. It was really... interesting. I'm very excited that this guy is in the UFC. We needed some crazy. We lost all our crazies. You know, we don't have any right now. So that was pure high level crazy, especially crazy Brazilian. I'm very excited about this guy. Have you ever seen the Key and Peele skit where they have the two MMA fighters and they're both doing like the pre-fight scrum, and one guy's like, I'ma make him wish that he never stepped in the cage. And the other guy is like, my hands are a weapon of destruction.
I remember this.
Yeah. He's like saying all this crazy stuff. That's who that guy is. He probably saw that skit and was like, that's me. I'm that guy. That's what I'm doing when I get to the UFC. And he nailed it. He's so insane. So I can't wait to see him fight again. And he fights at this gym called the Fighting Nerds, which I think is really cute.
Hence the glasses.
Yes, the glasses with tape in the middle.
That's such a Brazilian gym name.
Is it?
That just makes a lot of sense.
I'm not well versed in Brazilian gym names, but tell me more.
No, just like the nicknames they give people, like just their use of the English language without actually speaking English.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, it's like an English.
It's endearing.
Title.
It's endearing.
It's cute. I think it's cute.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went and checked out the page because I'm like, what is this gem? And the first video they had was some guy who was obviously a fighter, but he had the same glasses on and like a book bag. And the guys are bullying him. And he's like, oh. And then he gets in the ring and beats up the bully.
Nice.
I'm like, oh, you guys are cute. Anti-bullying in Brazil. I love it. So I can't wait to see this guy fight again.
I'll have to watch him fight because I did miss that fight. So
yeah,
definitely need to run it back.
Yeah, for sure. But there were a bunch of cool knockouts on the card. I was a little sad about Phil Hawes because I really like the way he fights, and he just got smashed by what was the kid's name?
Was that Mata?
It was like almost Pereira. It was another Ferreira. Bruno Ferreira. Yeah, it was a pretty nasty knockout. Just throwing a lot of stuff, like mixing up well, throwing a lot of head kicks, punches in the pocket, and Hawes just kept getting like kind of nailed with stuff. And you land a big jump knee, big punch off of the kick. It was a really impressive showing, but I really like Hawes, and now he's on a 3-fight lose streak, so I always get a little sad about that.
Sure.
I've been there, I've been on lose streaks suck. Yeah. And you just keep thinking that you're either done or you're wasting your time or luck just isn't on your side, and it's easy to just get in this negative spiral when you hit that.
Absolutely. I mean, I've been there too. It's hard, but it's a great opportunity to reinvent, rebuild, and just you don't necessarily need to like go crazy and do something different. But I mean, it's a good feedback, of there's something that's not working. I get to figure it out. I get to go back to the drawing board with the coaches and just kind of it's an opportunity to reinvent yourself, which is nice and necessary in this sport because it's forever changing. But it's also brutal because this sport is just so unforgiving. And I mean, there's bad matchups for everyone, everywhere. And you don't always get the opportunity. Sometimes the best person doesn't always win.
Yeah.
It's just MMA math is weird. It doesn't always add up.
It really doesn't. It's and it's like somebody has to lose. You rarely get a draw like the Gian and Ankalev guy. You rarely get that. So it's really hard when you might have done everything right and you still lose. You might have been the better fighter, done everything right, and you still lose. And it's just a really hard sport when you think of it in the numbers sense. But yeah, hopefully he'll bounce back.
It is weird because you have these people burst on the scene and they're on the next big thing watch list kind of and then it doesn't always pan out the way it's supposed to or the way they envisioned it. And sometimes they do really well in the lower leagues and they come in and they just kind of fall flat. Maybe they're winning, but I mean, even if you're winning and it's not exciting, it's a possibility of getting cut. Even if you come on the scene, you have a really nice clean record and you lose your first one, you're already on the watch. Yeah.
On the roster watch.
Yeah. It's it's so hard. And there's so many people that are coming in and out of the UFC in particular. Everybody's dying to get in and it's hard to say. So it's brutal sometimes.
It is.
Yeah, you just have to make the best of the opportunities
and enjoy the time that you're there because nothing lasts forever. You're not going to be employed forever. You're not going to be fighting forever, and you're not going to be winning forever. But it's really important to enjoy the journey, enjoy the people that you're sharing it with, and just be thankful that you're doing your passion. Because I don't think anyone makes it as far to the UFC where it isn't their passion. We know like one or two.
I think it's very unforgiving, and I think people get really exposed if they're not necessarily meant to be there.
Right.
Some people get really lucky, or they get like a short notice fight and they're there, and it's very clear that they weren't potentially ready to be there. But yeah, they get exposed very quickly, pretty quick turnaround.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if like another thing for fighters to pay attention to is there's like a couple I guess Twitter accounts that follow who's being released, who's being signed, and a lot of times it'll be super surprising. Like a lot of times you're just like, whoa, that person just got in there, or whoa, that person was a huge deal, and they just released them. So I think it's important for fighters to know that once you get in the UFC, that's just the beginning. Mm-hmm. That's the easy part, actually. To get into the UFC, staying there is so hard. You got to work for it. You got to work to stay there. And even then, you might not be there that long. So yeah.
There's the great thing now is the UFC isn't necessarily the end all be all. There are other organizations that are paying well, giving like good opportunities, but the UFC still really is the pinnacle. Mm-hmm. It's where everybody really aspires to be on that level. It's a polished, well-oiled machine. It has a great platform that none of the organizations really can compare to, in my opinion. But it's not the end if you don't make it in it, and if you get cut, or if you choose to want to go somewhere else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's more popping up every day. Unfortunately, we just lost Bellator as a big one, and people are still trying to figure that out, like what's going to happen with that. So far, I don't know anyone who actually knows what's going on. So I'm a little scared for them. And then I was like, well, I'm sure the PFL fighters have something booked right now. And then I go on the PFL page and I'm like, oh, they still have their New Year's show. And I'm like, wait a second, it's 2024. Yeah, that already passed. There's nothing updated on the website. So I'm just like, what's going on, guys?
Maybe they need to take a little bit of time to rebuild, rebrand, and, figure everything out, because it's just hard to imagine that they like acquired a whole nother organization and didn't have it like any set plans. They're like, all right, we got it. Now what?
Right? I mean,
we're going to need a little time to figure it out.
I mean, you're in real estate. Like, how many times do people go into escrow and then fall out of it because like they weren't equipped?
Yeah.
I'm hoping that doesn't happen with the PFL and Bellator. PFL just realized they weren't equipped to handle all these new fighters, handle so many new cards, and still try to put on Bellator shows, even though Bellator is absorbed. Like it's kind of like everything's just in a gray area right now. Nobody really knows what's going on.
If they do know what's going on, which I really hope somebody does, they're not giving anything up. Maybe it's just gonna be like a huge reveal, a big surprise.
You seen the rep? That guy don't know anything.
I know.
He's over there like a used car salesman, like slapped said, look at this promotion. We're gonna put on all the shows, and he's just lying out the side of his mouth. It looks like
it's like it's rigged to like drive off the lot and die in your garage.
Yes. It'll get right off.
And all of a sudden it starts clunking.
The wheels fall off.
But you already signed it.
It's
You're
yours.
already off the lot.
It's yours. There's nothing they could do about it. Sorry, it worked before you bought it. Sorry.
It's your fault.
It's the fighter's fault for not promoting themselves. That's what it is.
Oh, stop it. Stop it. Don't even.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, we are going to switch over to our exclusive content portion of the show. We'll see all you cool kids over there.
Yeah. Let's talk about UFC 297.
All right.
Is that the number? Yes. Okay. Bye.